What is up, everybody, and welcome to the playoffs. Sims and Lefkoe, you've been here for a better part of the whole season. Hell, I know a lot of you have been here since episode 1, like 3 years ago, and it's another time to go to the playoffs.
And you're still sweating on the forehead.
It is. This is the hottest the studio's ever been. Would you agree?
It's up
I'm
there.
wearing a hoodie with
and a roses.
Bowl.
You're wearing the Rose
in
Bowl?
honor of an amazing Rose Bowl yesterday. Did you enjoy Baker Mayfield?
I did.
Did you
very
enjoy
much.
the thick legs and ass of Nick Chubb?
I did. Yes,
Oh my
Nick
gosh.
Chubb, Sony Michel.
They are fantastic.
They are. They're fantastic.
Are you excited for the championship next week, Georgia, Alabama?
Very much. I mean, to me, it just, first of all, the SEC is king. For anybody who didn't think that, is absolutely berserk, okay? And, yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch, certainly.
It's been an amazing weekend. Jon Gruden rumors are not only back, they seem to be real. We had coaches that lost their jobs. Apologies to the families, but we're going to try and figure out who takes those jobs today. We're going to break down the playoff picture and tell you which wild card team has the best chance at doing, I don't know, a Green Bay Packers, maybe a 6 seed making a run to the Super Bowl. We'll break that down. And then also we're going to look at Sims's top 5 candidates that are available for coaching. As always, hit us up on the Facebook comment section. And if you are listening on the podcast, comment on iTunes, leave a 5-star review, and I will read it during episode 147, which will be jam-packed. Thursday, we're going to be previewing all the games, the 4 games this upcoming weekend, so we're going to save that for Thursday.
Okay.
Wednesday, 147, I want that to be your big notebook dump. So I want to look at all recapping the games. Today is kind of figuring out what the hell happened and talking about coaches.
Okay, but so this, I want to figure this out why we're talking about this right now. I mean, okay, for the recapping the games, like, what do you want? You want to go over the New England Jets game that has nothing to do with this week? Right, so I'm only going to recap the teams that are relevant to this week in the wild card.
I want you to do a deep dive on the wild card teams, and then I want you to watch, like I did, exclusively Patrick Mahomes, because that's interesting to me. And then kind of finding out some wrinkles that the teams could take advantage of in the wild card.
All right, cool.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Good, putting you to work. What is up? I'm excited. Let's first take a look at the teams that made the playoffs, because before we start talking about the teams whose seasons ended in disappointment, these are the teams that freaking made it. Patriots are your 1 seed in the AFC. Steelers are the 2. Jaguars are the 3. Chiefs are the 4. I think that's kind of what we've been thinking about for the last few weeks. Titans get the 5 seed, beating the Jaguars and kind of holding on at the end. And out of freaking nowhere, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we were writing them off when Nathan Peterman got in and threw those 5 interceptions against the Chargers. I will say this point blank. I am excited for Buffalo finally getting in the playoffs this century. I will also admit I wanted the Chargers to get the spot.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed. It's a great Week 17 story. I'm so happy that a guy like Kyle Williams gets in the playoffs for the first time in his career and actually got a touchdown in that game against the Dolphins. But I am disappointed the Chargers aren't in, because I think they're playing better football than the Bills by far right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would just argue, the way it is, the Bills are not one of the 12 best teams in football. That's just the way I look at it, and certainly not going to be without a healthy LaShawn McCoy. Jacksonville, just real quick on those, I mean, they dodged a bullet, in my opinion, with the fact that Buffalo gets the 6 seed, the fact that they don't have to deal with the Titans once again. I mean, the Titans are made to beat Jacksonville. They can run the ball a little bit, keep them honest from that.
Yeah.
Mariota will hit a pass here and there. Dick LeBeau's going to scheme up the simple Blake Bortles passing attack, which is a shallow crosser and a screen pass. That's all they do, if anybody notices. It's like once they realize he can't throw that game, they go, oh, he's having one of those Blake Bortles days. Let's change our passing attack. So they dodged a bullet in a big-time way, especially with the Bills with no McCoy.
Let's give a little bit of props to the Bills, though.
Yeah.
What does this mean for McDermott, who a lot of people were questioning when he made that switch? What does this mean for him and his Bills' tenure in his first year they go to the playoffs?
Well, I think it just speaks to him and the fact that what he's done to change whatever you want to say, the culture of that organization, how much more buttoned it up is compared to Rex Ryan. And it shows you that you don't always need to have the most talented team to win football games or get in the playoffs. I mean, we should know that from the New England Patriots. They're not the most talented team. in football
How
every
did the
year.
Bills get here?
The Bills,
what did they do? Because they don't have that much talent.
No, but
look, they have talent, but they've gotten rid of so many of their big name players, from Marcel Darius to Sammy Watkins, and yet they still got it done.
No, they get it done because they play smart situational football. They don't mess up games themselves, right? The more times than not, the team they're playing screws up the game.
This is the quote that everyone makes fun of. You have to learn how not to lose before you can win. And I know it sounds ridiculous. It's some Yogi Berra shit, but it's true.
Yes.
Turnovers, dumb decisions, going for it on fourth down when you don't have to.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Penalties.
What's their net? They're +9 in the takeaway turnover differential. So that just shows you there that they've played pretty good football as far as taking care of the ball. We've talked about it all year. Not letting up big plays on defense.
Yes.
More times than not, they just try to execute, not mess the game up. And they've been able to pull out some of those close football games with that formula.
Before we get to the NFC canvasser, I'm just going to stick with this and talk about the Cincinnati-Baltimore ending.
Yeah.
Were you watching it live?
I was watching it live.
What was your reaction?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, when the drive started, I was like, all right, so when's Baltimore going to, close this out?
I'll say this. Wasn't shocked.
Right.
I thought Cincinnati +9 and Arizona +9.5 were two lines that we both looked at each other and went, who the fuck is making these lines?
I am so mad. I picked Arizona to win the game originally, and I called up
Knox, your writer.
My writer, and changed it the night before he published it. And I was like, you know what? Let's make it a 21-20.
Look, when Seattle started making that comeback, I go, man, they're so
Here
good
they
at this.
go.
They're so
right,
good.
right.
But Cincinnati, they just match up so well with Baltimore. But for it to come down to a 4th down and long, and you hit Tyler Boyd across the middle, and he breaks all those tackles. I don't know if you've seen the video inside Miami Stadium of all the Bills going crazy. I don't know if you saw the video of Kyle Williams' kids being doused in Gatorade and all that.
I saw that.
But, man, Baltimore letting it slip. I think they're one of the more disappointing stories of the year, especially with, you remember how they started. 2-0, 10 turnovers in the first 2 games, defense looking great, and then they go to London, get their ass kicked by Jacksonville, and then just to end the season like that, though.
Yeah, they're still not there. I mean, they were never quite there to me. Early in the year when they were healthy, I thought, ooh, this team, when Joe Flacco gets 100% hitting on all cylinders.
He was playing better.
And he was playing better. I mean, but you got to remember, he didn't practice in the preseason. He didn't play in the preseason. The first thing he ever did was play in a regular season game, so the offense struggled. Then, by the time he started to come around, they were missing, too many quality football players, both starting guards. One of them's an all-pro. Okay, Brett Urban, we talked about him in the middle. They're a team that still needs a few pieces and needs a little more team speed in general, I think, on both sides of the ball. And Lefkoe, I'll just say this. Cincinnati's more talented than Baltimore.
They have better players.
Cincinnati is going to be a gold mine for whoever takes over that job if Marvin Lewis does decide to step away.
Shout out the 2 coaches we were just talking about. Dean Pease retiring with the Ravens.
Yep.
Really good defensive coordinator
Great
for the last few
coordinator.
years. And then Bruce Arians retiring in Arizona. We were just talking about the Cardinals.
Right.
He had a great career too, and he went out and he gave that speech, and I got a little emotional. I'm not going to lie. A few other notes just from this weekend. Do you notice New England? This is from Dylan Barons. I think this was on Twitter, saying that New England was trying a lot of end arounds. All of a sudden, the coaching staff getting ready for the playoffs. It's something that Sims has always said. Why are the Patriots the only team that runs trick plays in the playoffs? That's when you should do it. It's funny they started in Week 17. And then also Golden Tate throwing that 2-point conversion to Stafford. How about that? A left-handed touchdown throw. It's good to see those back. That one pointed out to us by Matt Lee. Let's take a look now at the NFC playoff standings. We've known these 6 teams for a while. Seattle, we've kind of known wasn't going to get it done. Eagles are your home field advantage, even though they get shut out 6-0 at home to the Cowboys.
It didn't look good.
That game was fucking gross.
I didn't watch past Nick Foles. I watched the majority
I don't need
of
to watch
throws,
Nate Sudfeld.
But,
Vikings are the 2nd seed. Rams, even with a loss, take the 3 because the Saints lost as well to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it looked like they were trying. They lost in the last seconds. Carolina takes the 5 seed, and Atlanta. If you look at this list, Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Atlanta is the only team that made it to the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
That means something. We have been deemed Atlanta haters all season, but one of the first things you said to me was, That was the worst case scenario for the Rams.
Oh.
I bet you they were pissed. Why?
I mean, because they thought they were going to be the 4 seed. They thought Carolina was going to be the 5 seed. Carolina is that's a great matchup for the Rams, right? Carolina, their pass defense, we've talked about it. I mean, what we've seen here the last few weeks against good offenses, they can't really play you man-to-man. It was going to be a tough stop for them to stop that Rams offense. And then, the Carolina one-dimensional offense against that Rams defense?
Yes.
I mean, Carolina couldn't block New Orleans and Grady Jarrett the other day.
Jarrett was everywhere.
So, I mean, literally during the game, because I was texting with my dad a little bit, he said, "You seen anything?" I just said, man, if Carolina thinks Grady Jarrett's hard to block, wait till they get a load of Aaron Donald next week.
Man.
And it ended up not working out. And, yes, I mean, it's a blessing for the Saints. Here they are. They get to play Carolina Panthers, who they manhandled twice.
Both times.
Right. And then the Atlanta Falcons beat the Saints once. The game just a few weeks ago in New Orleans was very close. I mean, let's not forget the Saints got stopped on a 4th and goal on the 1-inch line.
Yes.
Or the Falcons, sorry. So now you got the Rams, who are one of the fastest teams left in football, and now they got the fastest team in football. So that kind of negates their greatest advantage. It is going to be great.
Is that the only good game of Wildcard Weekend?
I think I'll still be pumped to see New Orleans, Carolina a little bit.
And I'll say this. You know why Chiefs-Titans is exciting?
Yeah.
Because the biggest win for the Titans, maybe in the last 3 years, was in Kansas City last year.
The opening game?
No. Week 15 last year, the Titans went into
Right.
Kansas City and beat them 19-17.
Right.
Remember, Ken Wisenhunt kicked 2 field goals. And we were like, we are only saying that's good coaching because it went in.
Right.
He kicked like a 50-yarder to win the game.
I don't remember specifically, but yeah.
That was a huge upset for the
Right.
Titans. They know that they can win there.
Yeah, sure.
Which will be interesting. You texted me during the game the Eagles Emotional Investment Index for me. You just texted me 7% because I had said it was down to 10, then you texted me 7, and I said it's more like 6. I think that the Eagles have a chance if the weather stays this cold, and here's why. Nick Foles has not been the only quarterback that has sucked in the Eagles games lately. Derek Carr was not good.
Right.
Dak Prescott was not good.
Right.
Receivers are dropping the ball all over the place. I think the only way the Eagles have a chance is if all of the quarterbacks come down to Nick Foles' level, which this weather will do.
Right. It's supposed to be 40 by the end of the week in the Northeast
That's
again.
not, well, they don't play this week. So hopefully it starts getting cold again. But that's really the only chance I think the Eagles have is that all of the teams are reduced to frozen fog ball, whatever it is, standards, and they can win that way.
They got to change the way they're approaching the football game. Okay? Fuck. You lost the best player in football.
It's
the
unreal.
best player. Okay? So he was making magic happen. And for an offense that, again, and I know I did this at the time, because when they got good, everyone goes, well, these weapons around Carson Wentz. And I want to go, What weapons are you guys talking about? The cast-off Torrey Smith, or the guy Alshon Jeffrey who nobody wanted to pay in free agency, or Jay Ajayi who has a ticking time bomb for a leg? Is that what we're talking about?
Unnecessary.
So yeah, okay.
Didn't have to put all that shit in there.
All right, sorry.
That was really personal.
But they got to change. They got to go like I've said this before, 1990 New York Giants style. Get in the I formation, put your quarterback underneath the center, and beat people up running downhill. LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi are not meant to start the run game off going sideline to sideline. It's not the kind of runners they are. They're misusing them. It's like this is like DeMarco Murray, Chip Kelly stuff all over again. Now, it's not quite that bad, but to me, that's the way. Ground and pound, few play action passes, control the clock, rely on your defense. Your defense is still good and can still carry you.
Chandler Frankenfield says, does Bleacher Report allow this language? 2018 is wild. Dude, we've been doing this since 2015. You should have heard episode 2. If you think this is crazy.
Welcome. Welcome, and shut your freaking mouth. I said freaking.
So the Eagles, I'm not that confident in. I think if I was going to re-rank the NFC, I know we're going to do your power rankings in a second. Minnesota has been my number 1 team in the NFC now for, I don't know, since Carson Wentz got hurt.
Yeah.
So what is that, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
I think Minnesota has looked so good. And to all the gamblers out there, and I know who you are, and you're sitting there and everyone's going, oh, Minnesota is up 13 points with 2 minutes left. Chicago had the ball first and goal on like the 3, and I'm sitting there a gambler, and the Vikings had a goal line stand, and I said, Minnesota has been the most reliable team in gambling all year.
What does that mean? You know, people have to like get out of that. Like, I mean, we're going to hold Minnesota and Case Keenum responsible for that, but nobody's concerned about Drew Brees blowing an easy game to the Bucs, huh? Because it doesn't matter.
What do you mean? I wasn't shit on Case Keenum. I was praising him.
No, but you're saying there they are, only up 13 in the fourth quarter.
Well, no, because the spread was 12.5.
Oh, okay, you're worried about that.
Yeah, come on, man. This is gambling. I'm talking about money here. No, you know me. I think that Case Keenum can go and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, I've been saying it now for 3 weeks. There's something wrong with the Saints. I don't know what it is. And it might be the injuries to Alex Okafor and their offensive line, all that stuff, but I'm a little scared.
Yeah, I hear you.
Let us take a look at the guys that we said would set the bar last week. Spoiler alert, Sims picked a lot better than I did. I thought Kirk Cousins was going to have his show me the fucking money game. And instead, no, that's not a 158 perfect quarterback rating. That's just his passing yards and then 3 interceptions. While as you picked Jimmy Garoppolo, 292, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Did you watch a lot of that game?
No,
I didn't watch
almost none.
But that was a guaranteed lock.
It was the reason I bet the most money on our pick show. I mean, to me, that was the only game I knew what I was going to get out of both teams. It was the only one. I knew that San Francisco was going to go, man, we got this shiny new object, and we want to end our season off well because it stunk to start the year. And I knew the Rams were going, okay, we'll see you Wildcard Weekend. We're not worried about this one. So that was... What did I bet on that? $14.50?
A lot.
Yeah.
Prior to this season, no NFL team to start 0-9 had ever finished better than 3-13 that same season.
Wow.
The 0-9 Niners just finished 6-10.
Wow. That's awesome.
No one had ever gotten 3. They got 6.
They were 0-9 or what, 1-10 at one point?
0-9.
Just a real quick, like with my PFT show that I'm on,
yeah.
Stats had a dress like Ben McAdoo.
Because he said they'd get how many?
They wouldn't go 6-10.
And he dressed up like Ben McAdoo.
He dressed up like Ben McAdoo during Halloween because he said it's a foregone conclusion. We're not going to finish 6-10.
So what the hell happens now?
Nothing. He already did it. He already paid his debt. I think he should have to do it again.
Speaking of Drew Brees set the record for single season completion record. Remember percentage?
Yeah.
Sam Bradford had done it with 71.56.
Right.
Brees 72.01 this year.
Wow.
So pretty damn fucking good.
Pretty damn good. I mean, yeah, and then their running game, of course, makes that helpful as well.
I also want to give a shout out to 3 defensive players that took every single snaps for their respective teams this season. Browns linebackers Joe Schurmur and Christian Kirksey, and Jets linebacker Demario Davis played every single snap this year. Demario Davis was great.
The whole year.
When we went to the Bills game, I left going, I know that I like to talk about Leonard Williams and Muhammad Wilkerson and the safeties, but Demario Davis was everywhere.
He had a great year.
He really did.
Yeah, he's a old school linebacker thumper who runs well enough to stay on the field third down.
Also want to give a shout out to Drew Stanton. Has been playing with no ACL for years. Apparently, he had just a thread, and now he has none. No surgery is planned. Once he got over a bone bruise he just played on, he knows how to manage not having an ACL.
Yeah, he's a tough sucker. I know him a little bit just from his pre-NFL days. He trained up at the place I did, used to in Jersey with Greg Olson, and yeah, he's a real football player. I got a lot of respect for him from that standpoint. I mean, he was at Michigan State too. He's fearless.
There are a lot of players that try to raise the bar. There are only a few that can truly set the bar. And we look back at Week 17, and Sims, which player in your mind set the bar for Week 17?
I'm going to go with the guy that set the bar that's cool under pressure, not like hot and sweaty like this guy to my left here who is he's flustered by the moment. But it's Matty Ice. Yes, Matt Ryan. I mean, a do-or-die elimination game at home against Cam Newton, the Carolina Panthers, who had something to play for. 317 yards, 1 touchdown, made a number of plays. Matty Ice doesn't also get enough credit for his ability to kind of extend plays, run a little bit from time to time, gets looked at as a pocket passer, but does some damage with his legs. No running attack on Sunday either against that Carolina Panthers front seven. He was the bar for me on Sunday, getting the Atlanta Falcons in the playoffs, and they're dangerous. I mean, I will not be shocked if they somehow found their way back in the Super Bowl.
Man, when I was watching all these 4 o'clock games, I had one screen on a game that really had no playoff importance.
Right.
And I want to share with you, even though the numbers aren't that great, Patrick Mahomes is setting the bar. 284 yards, 22 of 35, no touchdowns, 1 interception.
Those are really good numbers. I don't know why.
Really good numbers.
Yes.
But I want everyone to go back and watch. His drive to end the game, escaping pressure, rolling right, throwing
that
a
was the
frozen
last
rope.
drive?
Last drive.
I saw the throw.
Leads down the field for a game-winning field goal. If you're a Chiefs fan, there was no perfect way to end the season. He didn't play 4 touchdowns to where you're going with a quarterback controversy to the playoffs, but they know they have the quarterback of the future. And to go in against the Denver Broncos defense that I know has been a little bit beleaguered as of late, but still has talent all over the field, with your top receiving option being Albert Wilson and your top running back being a fullback for 90% of the game,
right.
Patrick Mahomes went out there and showed everybody the new bar in Kansas City. I'm excited for you to watch the film.
I am too.
Because it was.
I just saw a few of the throws, but he's a natural.
He's going to be awesome.
He's an absolute natural at the position. That's why I loved watching him in the draft. And he's got, I mean, you know what I think. He's got Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre type talent. That's how special the kid is.
Speaking of talent that I know that you've mentioned, Brett Favre and who's the other guy you just said?
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers. You used to talk about that with Derek Carr. And someone just said in the comments section,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I don't forget that Sims said that Derek Carr was better than Drew Brees.
Right.
What happened?
Okay, well, it's first
season
of all,
in review, Derek Carr.
Yeah. Derek Carr had a horrible year. And last year, Derek Carr was better than Drew Brees. I mean, guys get better and worse than year to year. I mean, like Von Miller, or Khalil Mack was the best pass rusher in football last year. This year, he was not. For some reason, in quarterbacks, you can't do that. Have you ever noticed that?
Once
it's like
you make
you're
a ruling.
3 forever, and that's it. It's 10 years later. You said he was number 3. I don't understand that.
Well, you know this more than most.
I have conversations with us all the time. Like, hey, you said he was the 3rd best quarterback 2 years ago. Oh, this is now, and this is not 2 years ago.
But that's what we always get upset about with Pro Bowl voting.
Drives me
is
crazy.
People get rewarded for 2 years
right.
ago.
But Derek Carr, had a bad year. I am concerned about Derek Carr. And that's where I think Jon Gruden needs to go there. That's why they need him there more than anything. They need to get him straightened out.
He was throwing off his back foot a lot.
He doesn't step to his throws. I wish I could stand up for everybody and show you right now.
You can.
I can?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how are we going to do this?
Just stand up, and I'll just talk loud.
But watch how many times. Okay. Should I go to this corner over here? You could see me better? You think you can get over
If people
me?
listening on audio, Sims is standing up, and he's standing next to me. All right, so go ahead.
So Derek Carr, if this is the target as a quarterback, I'm lefty, so it's going to be opposite for all yous out there. But if I'm going to throw to you, the camera, you should be stepping right here to throw the ball, right? That's straightforward, right at your target. Derek Carr, anybody out there, go watch what he does when you watch film. Go watch Game Pass on NFL.com, whatever it may be. When he wants to throw the ball there, he'll step like this and throw it like that. And then you wonder,
completely perpendicular to the right.
Yes, exactly right. So if you're on a clock and the target's 12 o'clock, he steps to 9 o'clock most times to throw to 12. And how many lollipops did he throw in your Eagles game or interceptions?
Just straight up in the air.
How about the lollipop he threw against Kansas City down the middle with the wide open guy that's gone for a touchdown? He throws it like 20 yards behind him.
Now, how much can you put on a new OC? How much can you put on his injury?
I think all of it is. All of it. I put it all together. I mean, the OC, is certainly going to lead to his struggles. He hurts his back, right? So that's part of it, too.
Yeah.
The OC also probably, apparently didn't care about some of his techniques or some of the things that were flawed within him this year. So I think that, and then, of course, to the struggles and all that, I just think it all culminated. Is it Connor Cook? Oh, no, it's E.J. Manuel, sorry.
Man.
And then it's Connor Cook.
I don't know. For me, like having the Matt Schaubs of the world are good for that shit.
It was. I am legitimately somewhat concerned about him. I mean, I thought it was that bad towards the end of the year.
Wow.
I mean, I knew he threw the bomb to Amari Cooper the other day. I was watching live. That was great. But, man, there was a number of throws in that game, too, where I just said, ooh, that's underwhelming. I don't care even if they're complete. It's just the look of the throw. You know how I am. And it didn't look right.
All right, we are about to get into the coaching firings, and we're going to go deep into Gruden because I really care about your opinion about Gruden more than most people because you know him. And if you haven't seen the clip, check out the Sims and Lefkoe Instagram of Gruden teaching. Is that a rookie, Chris Sims?
It's a rookie, Chris Sims, and they set me up. Him and Brad Johnson. This is what I was going to tell you. So I'm messing the play up.
All right, so check out the video on Sims and Lefkoe Instagram of you trying to say which play.
I think it was green right, shift to Viper right, 382 Y stick X looky.
I tried to say it at home and I went, fuck that, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, or
that's the reason I couldn't play quarterback in the NFL. That alone.
Yeah, weak right tight. What was my other one? We could go Viper right, shift to weak right tight, Y right, H3X bingo, Y smash on 1. Can you say that one?
No.
Okay.
So how do they set you up?
So I'm a rookie. It's my first few days in training camp. So I had a list of plays I had to be responsible for. I didn't get the same plays that Brad Johnson got, right? Who's in year 14 and been in the offense. So Gruden, the night before, would always go like, here's your 15 plays you're going to get tomorrow. Be all over them. Make sure you can say them in the huddle, whatever it is.
Was that play 16?
That was not on my list, right. So he brought me in there, and we're mic'd up for the day from NFL Films. He always mic'd us up every training camp. Gruden would put the mics on all the quarterbacks.
That's actually smart.
He wanted to hear us in the huddle, how
smart.
we conversate with people. So get that. It was a great learning experience. But, yeah, he set me up, and he's with Brad Johnson, who we call Bull, behind the scenes, like going like, watch this. And
what a dick.
Yeah, they screwed me over, but it's all right.
I like the fact that he definitely did it because NFL Films was there. And I'll say this, what he did in the Super Bowl with the boom, I've always thought it helped his career.
Yeah.
Because it's images that we'll see over and over and over again.
Well, are we talking about this now?
No.
Okay.
So, we'll get into it in a second. Okay. First, though, we have 12 teams in the playoffs. I want to see how you rank them from 1 to 12.
Okay.
Let's take a look at your power rankings because I think the playoff teams deserve more than the other teams. Your number 1 team in the playoffs is the Patriots. Your number 2 is the Steelers over the Vikings. Does that mean the Vikings have dropped?
No, but the Steelers have been my number 2 for the last 2 weeks. Yes.
Vikings are 3. You have the Rams at 4,
right.
The Saints at 5, and the Panthers at 6.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
So it's AFC, NFC, 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 NFC. Let's go now to 7. I have not looked at these. I'm seeing these all for the first time right now. Number 7 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 8 is the Eagles. 9 is the Chiefs. 10 is the Chargers, who are not even in the playoffs. 11 is the Titans. 12 are the Cowboys, not even in the playoffs. So who am I missing there? Buffalo?
Yeah.
And am I missing another one?
I think that's it. Just Buffalo, right?
Well, no, because the Chargers and Cowboys both aren't in the playoffs.
Oh, who else am I missing here? The Falcons are 10. Oh, they messed it up.
Oh, so then what is it?
The Falcons are 10. The Chargers are 11. And the Titans are 12.
Okay, so you have Chiefs at 9, Falcons at 10, Chargers at 11,
right.
Titans at 12,
right.
Bills where?
Bills at 14.
Behind the Cowboys?
Cowboys, yes. I have the Titans 12, like you said, Cowboys 13, Bills 14, yes.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tight one between them and the Ravens.
You still have the Eagles that high?
Yeah, I was close to maybe putting the Chiefs above them. I'm giving them the respect for right now. I don't know why. But then when I just looked at it again, I was like, yeah, I probably should have bumped the Eagles down another spot or 2.
All right, so you have the Titans and Bills as the bottom 2 teams in the playoffs right now.
Right.
And you have the Patriots and the Steelers as the top 2.
You were surprised with my Panthers at 6?
Yes.
Who did you want me to put the Jaguars ahead of them?
Yes.
Really? Have you watched them the last 2 weeks?
No.
Okay. Well,
no, I have. I just, you know what? Then I think that there's 5 teams that are capable of winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. I think now that I'm looking at it, I want to put the Jaguars in there. I had them at 3 a few weeks ago, but as you pointed out, Blake Bortles was facing bad defenses during that stretch when he was doing really well. I like the new look Chiefs. I kind of like this flow right now.
Yeah, the Chiefs, yes.
But their defense still
That's
really
what scares me. That's why I gave you guys the benefit of the doubt there.
And I do kind of like the Falcons right now. They're starting to really click, but I look at the Saints, the Rams, the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Patriots as the 5 teams that are the Super Bowl level teams in my mind.
I know. I can't do the Falcons yet. Like, there's signs that I like, but yet I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment. Like, where, again, 2 weeks ago, they, in typical Falcons fashion, found a way to lose the game in New Orleans and lost 23-13. So, again, like, the Falcons are ultra talented, but they have a reoccurring theme of not putting together full games, whether it was the blown losses to the Bills or the Dolphins, or the Saints just a few weeks ago, whatever it may be. There's a number of games all year to where that concerns me, and that's why they fall down a few more spots.
Elon Fallsgraph says, Sims, where would you put the Niners in your power rankings if they were in the playoffs?
I would still put them.
Where do you have them right now?
I would put them last. Still, I'm not gonna go crazy.
You would put the Bills over the Niners.
I would, yes. But 21 is where I had them last.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't.
I mean, no, their defense is not good.
Okay.
Yeah, that can still concern me.
God, they're the most hyped team ever, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're dangerous. I certainly believe that. I mean, as long as with Kyle with a quarterback is dangerous for anybody out there. But no, I'm not going to put them above some of the teams that have played full seasons of complete football. Just rank the 49ers above them because they've gotten hot in the last 3 weeks with no pressure on them and just go out there and have fun and let Jimmy G throw it around.
You're right. All right, so let us take a look of the 8 teams that are playing on Wildcard Weekend. Titans, Chiefs, Falcons, Rams, Bills, Jaguars, Panthers, and Saints. I want to ask you, who is the team playing on Wildcard Weekend that you genuinely believe has the best chance at making a run to the Super Bowl of those 8 teams?
Of those 8 teams, to me, it's the Los Angeles Rams. It's a tight one. It's
between who?
To me, it's really between, I think, all 3 NFC teams when I look at it. I think I would go Rams, Saints, Falcons as the 3 wild card teams. If I had to rank the 3 most likely that could get to the Super Bowl, right? Those would be the 3 most likely at a wild card weekend. I have the most confidence in the Rams.
What about them makes you the most?
The both coordinators, McVay and Wade Phillips, right? Okay, so they always have really creative game plans that I watch film of, whether it's Wade Phillips on defense. I go, oh, wow, that's a nice little wrinkle they're doing this week, whatever it may be. Then the offense, the weapons they have, of course, Gurley, if you're watching right now, you see him, Gurley, Watkins, Woods, Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp. You know, the tight end play, and then McVay's ability to dial up and find ways to get explosive plays on a week-to-week basis. And then the last thing that puts them over the edge for me is they have game changers. They have game changers in the fact that Todd Gurley, yes, he can catch a screen and go for 40, but what he does is go for 80 and scores a touchdown to where, oh, now we don't have to settle for a field goal. See, there's no quantifying that stat. And then these 2 MFers right here, I mean that in the most disrespectful way, sorry.
Robert Quinn and Aaron Donald.
Yeah. I mean, they can change an outcome of a game. Right, sack, fumble, whatever it means. Robert Quinn's been everywhere lately, so watch out for him in the playoffs. And Aaron Donald is, you know, he's definitely in the conversation for the best defensive player in the league.
So the Rams, you legitimately think have a chance?
I do. I think the Rams have a legit chance, yes. And, yeah, I mean, they win this game, right? I mean, they're going to end up going to Minnesota. I will not be shocked if they went to Minnesota and won that game. I don't know if I'd pick them, but I will not be shocked.
I think when I look at the 4 NFC wildcard teams, I look at the Panthers, and I think their defensive scheme is a liability.
Yeah.
I've just seen it get carved up by good passing offenses all year,
right.
And I don't see a wide receiver threat.
What are they going to do?
That's really that great. Like Devin Funchess and Greg Olsen are good, but they've lost all their speed guys.
Yeah.
I look at the Saints, and I worry about only having Cam Jordan as a pass rusher in the playoffs, and I've seen sort of their cornerbacks getting taken advantage of because, as you say, the Saints' defense is a good attacking scheme, and they can be taken advantage of.
Right.
The Falcons, I worry about their second half offense.
Yeah.
They're always good in the first half. I worry about the second half.
Right.
I never worry about McVay, and I never worry about those 2 dudes on the D-line for the Rams getting after the quarterback.
Right. So who would you go with? Who was would that be your team too if you had to pick like a...
No, I would actually, I'm going to go with the Saints because of this reason.
Yeah.
I think the Saints beat the Panthers and then get to play the Eagles. And I think that matters because I think the Rams going to Minnesota, I don't want to face I don't want to face the Vikings after the bye. I want to face the Vikings. Now, granted, that game would be in Minnesota as well for the Saints,
but it's in a dome.
It's in a dome, and the Saints already played the Vikings, so
yes.
they have that film. I think that's the one that makes the most sense.
I get you there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to that. What year did they come up and play you guys? Was that 2014 when the Saints in the divisional game?
I think that was
2013.
In New Orleans.
No, they came up and played you guys in Philadelphia, and Brees threw, I remember, like 2 interceptions, and they tried to run the football. What year was that?
Is that the year that we lost to the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC Championship game?
I'm looking it up right now. No, hold on. This is driving me crazy.
All right.
But my point was this, is that, you know, that would be good for your Eagles. I do think with your D-line, you can slow down that run game.
Oh, the Saints.
And if you got
Drew Brees and that
cold ass weather,
amazing.
right? Then their passing attack has not been hitting like crazy.
I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
We are playing Donnell Ellerbe at linebacker.
Right.
And when I think about the Saints, I go, who are you going to match up? And unless they put a McLeod on Kamara, I guess that's what I heard the announcer saying this weekend, or a Malcolm Jenkins, I think he's going to tear him up. I also think, and we're going to get to coaches in a second, I think it's very rich that Jim Schwartz is the number one coaching candidate when he has Fletcher Cox on his team.
Canvasser, you said it was 2014? Oh, 20. Okay, I got you. Okay, so I'm a little off. But I just wanted to read the stat line for you real quick.
He didn't play great.
No, he definitely did not. Where the heck is it, though? There it is. Sorry.
No, you got it?
I got it.
Okay, good.
250, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, right? And I remember this game because I remember going, oh, my gosh, he threw 2 early interceptions, and they won an ugly football game. But the big thing is I remember thinking, man, Sean Payton has no trust in Drew Brees out here. He literally took the ball out of his hand and said, no, we're going to run. Drew, you're a little shaky.
Who was playing for who was the quarterback of the Eagles?
That was your Nick Foles.
Fuck. That was the year that he went 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Sorry, all right. Just wanted to say
I like that you said sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Eagles don't have a good history with the Saints. They lost in 2010, I think it was, in New Orleans, and that was another huge game that we blew. I think that was Jeff Garcia.
That was
when we had Jeff Garcia.
Right.
It was Black Monday on New Year's Day, which is the day. Oh, you're sweating now.
It's hot. I'm not sweating. I'm just getting warm.
Is the day when a lot of coaches get fired. Now, there were rumors that as many as 14 coaches could be replaced, but as of right now, I am only seeing 6.
Right.
So a lot of guys got retained. These were the big names that were let go. Chuck Pagano, after 6 years in the Colts. Bruce Arians resigned with the Arizona Cardinals. Jim Caldwell was fired. John Fox fired for the Bears. Jack Del Rio fired for the Raiders. So it was actually 4 head coaches fired. Dom Capers, the DC, fired for the Green Bay Packers. Derek Dooley, the wide receiver coach for the Cowboys, he was fired.
He was officially fired?
He was officially fired. The guys are retired.
Why did you say 4 head coaches? It was 5.
It was 4. It was 5 head coaches.
Yeah.
No, 4. Bruce Arians retired.
Oh, okay.
So it was Del Rio, Fox, Caldwell, and Pagano fired. Ben McAdoo was the coach that wasn't on there, and he was fired. Of those, the 4 main guys, any of those surprising you? What did you take away from that list?
I mean, Caldwell and Del Rio, I think, were the ones that were most shocking to me. I mean, not that they were shocking. I mean, the fact that Del Rio got done, the game was over and they told him we're not going to retain you.
Del Rio finishes 25-23 with the Raiders.
Right.
Caldwell was 35-28 with the Lions.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of a raw deal.
Fucking A, you did.
I know. Del Rio, I thought maybe there was an outside chance that he gets kept just because of the way they played last year. I know you and I got a chance to see how the culture was changed out there in Oakland when we went out to training camp a few years ago with Del Rio. I mean, last year they could have legitimately been in the Super Bowl if Derek Carr doesn't get hurt. I thought that might have bought him another year. But, again, when you're a defensive coach and your defense never gets good, I think that's where owners, they think they know everything, but that's one area they're going to go, well, wait, didn't I hire him to coach the defense? And we haven't been good in defense for 4 years. So, yeah, that is a red alert to the owner to go, damn, the reason I hired him is not even getting better.
You knew, though, with Jim Caldwell, because of Bob Quinn, you knew he was going to want his own guy.
Right.
Even though they went out there and they shellacked Green Bay in Week 17, and, I mean, I thought they were playing well. Now, Stafford still wants Jim Bob Koetter to stay, and I don't know if Stafford knows exactly what he's getting into. I think Cooter's okay.
Right. Cooter's a little overrated. I would agree with that. I mean, people talk about him like I even heard him early on as a head coaching candidate. I wanted to be like, pump the brakes. I haven't seen him get a 100-yard rusher yet as an offensive coordinator.
Chuck Pagano was 53-43.
Yeah.
Has not made the playoffs for 3 straight years, which the Colts used to own that division.
Right.
But a lot was put on Grigson, and I thought the Colts, they fought at the end of the year.
They did. It's just,
and they didn't have a lot of talent. But
no Andrew
Luck. They just
Luck.
needed to clean out everything.
It certainly does. Yeah, Chuck Pagano, he got a raw deal too. I mean, his team was not good. They go to the playoffs early on in his career, the first 3 years, but Grigson and company did not build a strong roster, so he was undermanned from that standpoint. And then, of course, this year, no Andrew Luck. And I also, Jim Caldwell, I do feel bad for, but at the same time, hey, sometimes owners, GMs, they just feel like, hey, we need to get a new guy in here to spice things up, change the culture again, put a little poker into everybody's ass to get them going.
Look, the Lions are very comical to me. They had Jim Schwartz, which was poker in the ass.
Yeah.
We're going to fight hardball with the handshake,
Right.
and we're going to yell, and we're going to get so many penalties in our games that it's going to become an issue.
Right.
Then we're going to bring it back to Jim Caldwell, which never wants to talk about anything, and people call him bland, and he sticks to the books. Now they got to find that middle ground. I think Caldwell set them up for a good foundation. I still think they need some more size on the D-line, and they need some new linebackers, and they've been trying to figure out that for the last few years. But the O-line, they've invested free agents and draft picks. They have their quarterback. They have a really good wide receiver. They need to get a frickin' running back. But the Lions, I think, are in a good foundation. Do they get a Patricia? We'll get to that in a second. Let's take a look at the 4 head coaches that stayed. These were the guys that were rumored to be going but stayed. Jay Gruden, look at the injuries for Washington. I think he should have stayed. I think he's got his finger on the pulse of what makes that team work. Dirk Koetter was somewhat of a surprise. They were supposed to be in the Jon Gruden sweepstakes, and now he's staying. Vance Joseph in his first year, 5-11. There were rumors they're going to stay with him. However, they fired their special teams, their running back, their O-line, and wide receivers coach in Denver. And Hugh Jackson, who is now 1-31 as head coach of the Cleveland Browns, stays. What are your takeaways from these four guys?
We could have put Bill O'Brien on that list too,
Sure,
right?
sure.
But yeah, either way, the first 2 guys up there,
Which would be
Jay Gruden. First of all, let's just hit on him.
Yes.
Jay Gruden should be there. I mean, I like the direction the Redskins are going. I mean, certainly they were not out-coached at any point in this year, at least in my estimation. When I would watch film, we've talked about the defensive coordinator Minuski. Their issues in Washington are just completing their roster. Yes, and you said it. They got ravaged by injuries. I don't think they had any. Nobody had more players on IR than the Redskins, other than maybe the Giants, right? Nobody started more combinations in the offensive line than the Washington Redskins this year. So for all those issues, yeah, I do give them a pass. And I believe in what they're doing there. Dirk Koetter, I get it. Like if Jon Gruden's there and they wanted to do that, I understand that. But I'll say this much about Dirk Koetter. Again, he's another coach where I'd go, what kind of talent on the team are we talking about? Because there's offensive line average, running backs average, defense averages can be, way below average. And a defensive coordinator that I don't think a whole lot of schematically. So from that, I just look at it and go, okay, so can they buy some players this offseason and give him some talent to work with? Because all we made a big deal about last year was Deshaun Jackson. Oh, they got Deshaun Jackson. They should be good.
Well, they had good players if you're making a fantasy team. Jameis,
Right.
Mike Evans,
Right.
Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard. Who cares about the O-line? Doug Martin, he was good that one time.
Yeah.
Oh, Gerald McCoy on the D-line. They're 2 inside linebackers and Vernon Hargreaves. So they have a guy where you go, oh, that's a guy, oh, that's a guy, oh, that's a guy. But they definitely didn't have depth.
No,
they
no
didn't have
depth.
what you care about, which is like your second line of the D-line or anything like that.
No quality depth. And then my biggest thing with them is I like Dirk Cutter's offense.
You said last week
Right.
that you like Dirk Cutter's offense better than Jon Gruden.
Yeah.
Why? Break that down.
Yeah, okay. So, I like Jon Gruden's offense, but
What is it? Like what?
It's West Coast, right? West Coast with his ability to draw up a few plays on a weekly basis to just screw over the opposing
Counters,
defense. Right.
change some routes.
Right. Very much, like
a lot of going across the middle, slants.
Yes,
That
crossing, meshing,
West
picking,
Coast.
right. It's all of that. Yes, the West Coast offense, let's not forget, was invented because a quarterback hurt his throwing arm, and they said, man, we got to invent ways to throw the ball short, and that's where it was invented with the 49ers back in the 60s. But regardless, Koetter, he is a down-the-field, old-school type of offensive coordinator, and I just
You
think
mean
that
the Browns in the 60s?
I just think, no, it was, I believe, the 49ers. Yeah.
In the 60s?
Yeah.
I thought it was Bill Walsh.
Yeah, no, it was before Bill Walsh. It was. I'll get into the.
Was it Paul Brown?
No, it was something else to do with the guy out in San Francisco. Okay. Paul Brown was one of the architects of the West Coast offense, certainly, but no, that's not where it came from. But regardless, where was I going there? Oh, Dirk Koetter. His offense for vertical passing game with the talent they have there in Evans and O.J. Howard and Godwin going forward, I don't think Deshaun Jackson will be there again next year.
I like Godwin.
I think it really fits what they want to do. And Jon Gruden, as much as he's really inventive offensively, I think people do forget that his years in Tampa Bay was never an offense better than 18. And I'm not saying we had the greatest talent down there either, so I'm not trying to blame Jon Gruden because we didn't. We were kind of like old veterans patchwork every year because Gruden just goes, well, I can coach the offense and we'll figure out. Let's spend money on the defense. That's the greatness of having a Jon Gruden as your head coach because he can do it with less than average players at times, right? But I do think it fits what they want to do there in Tampa, the skill set better, and just the I think this is the new age in the NFL. I do. I think the time of look at what we've seen. The time of, Peyton Manning throwing 12 bubble screens to start the game and us going, whoa, he's on fire. He's 10 for 12 for 130 yards. But he didn't throw a ball past the line of scrimmage. That crap doesn't go on anymore. It's almost going the other way now. You're seeing Brady and all these offenses, Big Ben and Garoppolo and McVay, they're going, when we're going to drop back and throw it, we're going to throw a screen to like a running back or we're going to throw a 30-yard in cut or a 30-yard seam route down the middle. But I do like Koetter's offense. Sorry, I went off there.
No, that was fucking perfect. If you do not have the Bleacher Report app, you are missing out. We are going to be focusing a lot more on it on the podcast and linking up with the programmers to get our stuff to make the app a cool experience. But here are the news and notes that I got from the BR app during the show just now. Mike McCarthy just got a 1-year contract extension, so they're keeping him in Green Bay as Ted Thompson's role has changed.
Hire a new offensive coordinator.
Jon Gruden has come out and said that he is interested in the Raiders job. The Broncos, John Elway has come out and said that he admits he did not put Vance Joseph in the best position to win, and he is expanding the role of Gary Kubiak to be looking over the free agency and the draft. It's a weird relationship that Elway and Kubiak has. I don't know what he sees in him, but apparently they love each other. Doug Peter, am I wrong there?
Well, they go way back. I mean, it was his backup quarterback in Denver for all those years. It was Gary Kubiak. So, hey, Kubiak, I mean, there's some value in that. Okay. He can evaluate players.
Doug Peterson comes out and says Nick Foles is my guy for the playoffs. People asked. Nick Foles has played like shit. Someone had to ask him that question.
They really thought that they were going to...
No, but you just got to get it on record.
Let's go with Sudfeld.
And then earlier today, Pete Carroll came out and says that he would not be surprised if Cliff Averill and Cam Chancellor have trouble playing again the rest of their careers with their neck injuries.
Yeah, well, that's what we talked about.
It is. And then you have Michael Bennett coming out and saying he doesn't know if he's sticking around, and Earl Thomas last week going to...
And Richard Sherman, Achilles injury. Yeah,
Seattle
Jimmy
Seahawks.
Graham's a free agent. That's all going to change. They're going to flip their roster. They got to go back to 2011 and get young again and then go back to the same formula how they built their team to begin with.
Just really sucks that Russell Wilson is going to have to play with shit now for 2 years.
Well, yeah, but we've seen you can change your team around really in one good offseason.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, we just talked about how there's 8 new teams in the playoffs this year. Sorry.
What was that?
I was burping and hiccuping at the same time.
All right, so we showed you the coaches that were fired, the places that now have openings. The Raiders, the Bears, the Lions, and the Colts, and the Giants. Those are the 5, right?
Right.
Raiders, Bears, Lions, Colts, Giants. Of those 5, who's your top one available? Like, where would you want to go if you were a coach?
If I had a pick there, I'm going to go...
Raiders, Bears, Lions, Colts, Giants.
I want to go to the Lions.
Because they have Matt Stafford.
Yes.
Where's number 2? You going to go Bears?
I mean, that's the great thing about all these jobs.
I'm not fucking with the Colts.
The Andrew Luck thing's scary.
I don't know what's going on with Andrew Luck. It's the biggest quarterback issue in flux. What you just said about Derek Carr scares me a little bit right there. And then the Giants...
I probably would go to the Bears, too. The Bears, too. The Giants thing is really enticing because the team is there, but you're really stuck with the worst starting player on your team is your quarterback, right? So what do you do?
You might have a draft pick to take the next guy.
Yes, you might.
With Odell.
But you also have a team that's somewhat kind of ready to win right now, right? So you go, man, do we want a Eli Manning who just can manage it but not going to make any plays? Or do we go with a young guy who might be able to make some plays, but we might have to live with like 1 out of every 20 attempts a dumb interception or something. That's where they're going to have to figure this out.
All right, so now I want to get to Sims's top 5 coaches that are available right now. And these are no specific order. These are just the 5 guys that Sims believes are ready for a head coaching job. Josh McDaniels, we've been talking about for damn near 3 years, number 1. Matt Patricia, defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots. Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. Terrell Austin, defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Pat Shurmur, offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you want to talk about first? We've done so much on McDaniels. Do you think Patricia, would he be number 2 if you were ranking these guys?
I think it would be, yes.
Do you think he's ready?
Yeah, definitely. The New England guys are 1 and 2 for me. I've been around them. You know my thoughts on New England, and I mean, gosh, we just did our Ford setting the bar. If there's a bar, it's in freaking New England. They're the bar. They're the 10th bar. They're the first bar. They're the freaking bar.
Jack Farr asked, will the Patriots start next season without McDaniels and Patricia?
I think there's a good chance. I think both of them realize that the great Roman Empire is going to end here soon. Brady getting old, Belichick going to retire. I would think in another 3 or 4 years, and they're going to make a move. And I think the time is now.
Damn, they're going to lose their quarterback of the future and both coordinators in the same season?
They could. Yeah, they could. I think the thing I look at, if you made me bet, I do think the Lions go Matt Patricia. I think he is ready. Hold on.
Yeah. So you would say Matt Patricia, though, is ready?
I do. I think he's 100%
a guy
ready.
That wears, like, full-length sweatsuits and wears, like, Screw Roger Goodell shirts coming off the plane.
I know that.
You think he's ready?
I do.
Do you think he can lead an organization?
I do, yes.
He's buttoned up.
He's extremely buttoned up. He can't be
he'll
shave when he gets the head coaching job.
All the defensive guys that went somewhere and didn't succeed, and then we went, oh, wow, Belichick was actually the key there. You think he's done enough?
I do. I think he's done it long enough.
Perfect.
He's a great game plan designer. And let's talk about what we always talk, like New England's defenses, it's not like they're the most talented units we've ever seen.
Especially this year, losing Hightower and Ninkovich and
Jabal
Sheard
and Chris Long, and you just go through the list. Right. So, to me, again, there's another guy who, when you watch them on a week-to-week basis and take away the first 2 or 3 weeks when Stephon Gilmore blew a few coverages, they're always well coached. They are amazing at situational football. And it's not, Bill, of course, has instilled this in them.
Yes.
But he trusts them to execute it the right way as well.
Why do you think Jim Schwartz is ready for another chance?
I think Jim Schwartz, again, I wanted to get in this a little bit with the Detroit situation. It's like, they had the bad GM, then they got the coach, and they got the coach, and they didn't have the GM. And now they got the GM, and he goes, okay, well, I want my guy in here that has my philosophy. Jim Schwartz, I think, again, was a part of a Lions team that wasn't ultra-talented, right? And really, you think about those teams, offensively, defensively, okay, it was Stafford and Calvin Johnson. Who else was on the team that scared you?
Ndamukong Suh.
Right, that was it. That was their team, right? It was those 3 people.
Yeah.
I just think he's a really good football coach that understands situational football. Once again, I've been around him in Tennessee. I know he understands the total aspect of it. He can command a room. To me, he just fits that mold.
Terrell Austin, I get a lot of DMs on Instagram, as Sims and Lefkoe, that say, why is Sims so high on Terrell Austin? The Detroit defense is never that good.
Yeah, I get it. But again, I would say, who on their front 7 is special?
So people would say, Haloti Ngata when he's healthy, Ezekiel Ansah.
In year 12, Haloti Ngata is our special player, right? So that's
Ezekiel Ansah.
Yeah, all 7 sacks in 2 years. Wow. Oof.
I don't like when you come at me when I'm just relaying.
No,
what
I know.
Say.
I'm not coming at you. I'm coming at just everybody. I just think Terrell Austin, first of all, again, creative game planning on a week-to-week basis. They're very sound. They usually don't screw things up on their end. They create plays. They're one of the best turnover teams in football, right? That's because of Terrell Austin and his ability to go, hey, Glover Quinn, when Matt Ryan does this play action fake away, jump that backside slant. Those are little things that coaching does. I think he's a guy that I met him a few times. He can command a room. He just fits the head coaching material. You can't knock him down because he hasn't had great talent on that side of the ball. If Terrell Austin had the Minnesota Vikings defensive players, they would be a top 5 defense in football.
I'd also say this: what he's gotten out of Darius Slay and Glover Quinn and what they've turned in this year, they've had really good moments.
Those are their best players.
Yes.
Those are, and Jared Davis coming
Your
up.
last name there was Pat Shurmur, who, when we look back at that Brown situation, go, oh, no, you got a raw deal. Trent Richardson, Brandon Weeden selected in his first year.
Yeah, he won more games than Hugh.
You had to build that shit. shit.
Right.
It's funny. I actually saw that Mike Penton spent the year with Seattle.
Right.
And there's a good chance that he might be a DC candidate. You got to get away from Cleveland. You got to show that you could do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Pat Shurmur did that. I know you were very impressed with him this season.
Extremely impressed with him, and I think his offense has grown from the time of even when he was the Cleveland Browns head coach. I mean, to me, when I watched the Minnesota Vikings, one of the best teams as far as balance is concerned, but also keeping you off balance within that balance, right? To go like, man, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I have no feel for them. Are they going to run this? Is it going to be a play action? But creative pass plays, scheme-wise down the field, always can find people to get open down the field. I mean, on a week-to-week basis, that's what's impressed me more. Thielen open, Diggs open. Like, how the heck are they always getting open? And then to play power football and come up with creative run design on a week-to-week basis, that's why I'd put him in there too.
I'm gonna put this out there candidly. I am friends with the Shurmurs. I am friends with his kids.
Cool.
They are fucking awesome. I want him to succeed.
Yeah, that would be great.
And you know what? The Eagles raved about him when he was there.
Right. I mean, he
really
took over as the head coach, 1-0.
Before I start matching up some of these coaches to teams, I want to say some other ones that I'm seeing out there right now.
Yeah.
A lot of Panthers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks.
Right.
What do you think?
I get that. It's along the same line as a Terrell Austin, right? I get that. But he's only been the D coordinator for 1 year. So that's, to me, I pump the brakes a lot of times on people that have only done it for a year. I want to go, I'd like to see, you took over the defense for Sean McDermott that was already like top 5 in football with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis and all those good players. So
Texans defensive coordinator Mike Vrabel.
I think he needs another year or two. He's head coach material all the way. I get that.
He's taking interviews all over the place
right
now.
Because he's going to be able to command a room. He understands it. He played. He was in New England. So all those aspects are enticing for him.
Chief Special Teams coordinator Dave Taub.
Yeah. Dave Taub, I mean, just throughout the years has been one of the best special teams coaches in football. I don't know him personally. People rave about him, not only as a coach, but again, as a person, as a communicator. And I do think special teams coaches get a little bit of a raw deal because of the reasons you've explained too. You got to get along with all the players. Yep. They understand the situations once again. And I do think that some of them should be taken more seriously.
Two other guys before we talk about Gruden. Steelers O-line coach Mike Munchak is back in the news.
Good.
Former Titans coach.
Yeah, I mean
Jake Locker.
Yeah,
you got to remember who these coaches had when they didn't work.
No, I know. And
Jake Locker is not in the NFL.
Is anybody Munchak? Munchak, what are they saying? The Cardinals are interested in maybe?
The Munchak is interviewing with the Cardinals. That's the only one that I've seen thus far.
Yeah, well, Munchak is one of the best O-line coaches in the sport. And that's a big reason why you've seen Le'Veon Bell and this offense take off the last few years. It's because Mike Munchak, when he stopped at Tennessee, he went there.
Cardinals are also interviewing Patriots linebacker coach Brian Flores.
You know I think a lot of him.
I don't know that you know that.
Oh.
I want to know who the fuck this guy is because I've seen multiple people online go, especially your boy Mike
Lombardi?
Lombardi was like, that's a good one.
Beef Lowe is going to be that's what we call him, Beef Lowe. He is going to be a head coach in the NFL. He needs to be a defensive coordinator first, but he is a guy, no nonsense. He is the epitome of New England, but he's like he's from Brooklyn, so he's tougher. Like he's just like he's got an edge about him. But again, a guy that I think is total head coach material in the future. But I'd like to see him be a D coordinator for a year or two first.
And then the only other name is Broncos running back coach Eric Stoodsville.
Yeah.
He's interviewing for the Giants head coaching job.
I mean,
you'll have to know more.
I know just from the time where he took over right there as the interim coach at one point. Was that there? Was that in Denver? But I don't know about him a lot. I'm not going to be able to say too much about him.
Is there anyone else on that list up there that we have not talked about that you think we need to?
Well, I think George Edwards, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, probably needs to be in the conversation. Todd Haley for the Steelers, again.
That Big Ben icy relationship. And then DeFilippo, a lot of people talk about the quarterback's coach for the Eagles. Now, the Eagles can block anything with coordinators, and Frank Reich is talked about a lot for jobs, too.
Yeah, I'm not ready to do that yet either. And DeFilippo, I mean, he's really a guy that's been a quarterback coach for the majority of his career. He did, 1 year as an offensive coordinator with the Browns?
Yes. But I interrupted you about George Edwards.
No, it's okay. They're just guys that I think need to be in that conversation as well.
Okay. And then no one else on that list?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's worthy of that quite yet.
All right. So I want to take a look at these jobs, and then I'm going to end on Gruden because that's the one I want to talk about the most. So these jobs that are open right now, Giants. So hold on. Where does Josh McDaniels go? Let's do it like that.
Right.
Because he's your number one guy.
Right.
Lions, Giants. Are those the top two?
I'm still don't. I think if Tennessee loses by 10 points this weekend, he could still get fired. I'm not going to put that out of the realm of possibilities.
But where is Josh McDaniels going in your mind?
I'm still going to say Detroit or Tennessee. I think it's going to be one of those two. I just don't think, knowing Josh and Matt Patricia, maybe Matt would do it a little bit more. I just think the fact that Josh was burned the first time, right, by kind of getting an inexperienced GM, and he was kind of GM/head coach in Denver. The one thing you've heard me say, the New England guys are into the New England way. And I know a lot of people out there are going to be like, whoa, whatever that is. Well, they have a process as far as how they evaluate players, offseason, draft, free agency.
So you're saying McDaniels to the Lions. I actually like Patricia to the Lions.
I think that's
because
probably more
Stafford
common.
and his stuff do it on offense, and then he handles the defense.
I think that's more of the possibility. Just in my time being in New England, too, I think Bob had a better relationship with Matt Patricia.
So you're going to put Patricia to the Lions?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me cross that. Oh, Patricia. Then where is McDaniels going? Take a guess. You going to say Titans? You're going to fire a guy and then hire a guy. You going to do it?
I think I am.
Wow, Titans. Mariota and McDaniels. Can he make that work?
I think he can. Yes, I do.
Take that kid to the next level?
The ones that are interesting to me is like what Josh think about the Colts with Andrew Luck and, their new GM there. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah,
from
the
Kansas
guy from
City.
Kansas City.
Chris Ballard, right. That would make sense. I mean, I don't know what he thinks of Chris Ballard, but I think that would be another place that I would think about with Josh McDaniels.
Where does Jim Schwartz end up?
I think Jim Schwartz is going to end up with the New York Giants.
You think he's the Giants?
I do. I don't know.
Do you like that hire?
I do like that hire. I do. I mean, a lot of people are even talking about, the Steve Wilkes guy because Gettleman has history with him from Carolina. I don't see that. I wouldn't do that quite yet. I mean, the Giants just went with the coordinator. Right. Let's make him a head coach. I think you need somebody that's kind of been there, done that.
Ryan Pace got an extension for the Bears.
Yeah.
Who do you think they hire in Chicago?
Gosh.
Now, Vic Fangio is going to interview as well.
Yep.
The Bears are interviewing DeFilippo, Vic Fangio, Steve Wilkes, and Pat Shurmur currently.
Yeah, Shurmur would be the guy that I would go with.
Shurmur to the Bears.
If I'm Shurmur and then he could keep Vic Fangio, hopefully that would be the ideal thing. And then he's got his franchise quarterback, and you just need weapons.
Do you think there's any chance, this kind of makes sense, you just talked about Chris Ballard, could he hire Taub because he was just in Kansas City?
I think that's a...
Who do you think goes to the Colts?
I mean, what's his relationship with the Matt Nagy? I mean, because I've seen his name thrown out there. I know the Colts one is really interesting.
Colts are interviewing Vrabel, Chris Richards, Josh McDaniels, and Steve Wilkes. Currently, this is as Tuesday as of 2:08.
I do think there's an outside chance. Like if I don't say McDaniels goes to Tennessee, I do think the Colts one is going to be the next one on his list.
Okay, but who do you think the Colts end up with? Because you've already put McDaniels in Tennessee.
Yeah. All right, let me just think about that. That's a good one there. Who do the Colts end up with? Who were the other people they're interviewing?
He's interviewed currently at this point.
Right.
The Colts are interviewing Steve Wilkes, Josh McDaniels, Mike Vrabel, Chris Richards. So if you look at it, 3 DCs and Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of seeing a lot of defensive guys there.
Damn. Well, I would put Josh there if we don't know Malarkey's going to get fired. But if I don't have him, then I'm going to go Vrabel.
Josh and then Vrabel. All right, and then the only other one is the Raiders. The Raiders. The Oakland Raiders.
I mean, I can go to one place that wears a patch, or I can go to the other place that wears a patch on their eye.
I think it's been very funny that ESPN has oftentimes gotten beat on their own guys going places, but not this time.
Yeah.
They've been putting out everything about Jon Gruden. When I texted you that he might be getting ownership, I went, how do you turn that down? Mm-hmm. Do you like Gruden the Raiders?
Yeah.
Do you like it more than Gruden the Bucks?
I like it more for the Raiders. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's a match made in heaven. I mean, he's a freaking Raider. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, right? He's like a little blonde.
I liked him better as the coach for the Raiders. He fit that.
Right. I mean, he is. He's the epitome of that. Like, just a what do I want to say? I mean, he's
swashbuckler.
A little bit. Exactly right. A renegade, right? That's what he is.
Well,
and he
you
fits
said
that.
Part of the allure to Tampa Bay for Gruden was he lived in Tampa.
Yes. Truly roots for Tampa.
Well, now it's across the country.
No, but when they say you're going to get ownership of the Oakland Raiders, you go, huh? When do I move? But I think there's also the, Okay, Derek Carr is there, right? And as much as I have the concerns, at least you have a quarterback that's been there, done that a little bit, and he's gotten to see him on film. They have an Amari Cooper. They have some pieces on the offensive line, and I do think he'll be able to find the right people to coach defense. Gruden really understands defense. He could coach a defense.
Well, the rumors are that he likes Johnny Morton, the OC for the Jets, and he might try and steal him.
Yeah, you got to connect dots, right?
Might bring in Rich Gannon as his quarterback coach, and the rumor was Paul Gunther.
Right, who worked with his brother, Jay Gruden, in Cincinnati.
He's the Bengals defensive quarterback.
Right.
You're not the biggest fan of Paul Gunther.
I'm not, but there's worse out there. I mean, it's still a good scheme. It's the Mike Zimmer type of scheme, yes.
Chris Sims, former quarterback, friend of Jon Gruden, played under Jon Gruden.
Right.
He's been out of the game now for nearly a decade. Monday Night Football. How do you think his adjustment will be back to coaching?
No adjustment. He's been coaching since he left. I knew this was only a matter of time before he came back. He can't help it. This is Jon freaking Gruden. I mean, he is the one calling ESPN going, hey, I'm watching film. Can we do another show on my film watching? I mean, this is what he is. He wants to break down film, draw up plays, get in front of the team, talk to them, communicate, teach plays to the offense, go out on the field, tell you how fucking stupid you are for messing up the plays he just taught you, and laugh about it. This is what he is. At his heart, he is in his DNA as a coach. That's what he's doing in the booth anyways. He's just coaching the audience.
Do you think that him being in the booth and meeting with teams for the last 7 to 8 years and hearing their strategy, is that actually an advantage?
No, he's smart enough to know their strategies and what they do schematically. He breaks it down. He works hard at it.
Is this a hire where the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos sit back and go shit, or they go whatever?
No, I think they will go shit. I mean, it's going to go shit because they're going to become the most polarizing team in the AFC, let alone the AFC West. Here he is. You mean Jon Gruden? He's a staple for NFL football. People can relate to Jon. The way he looks, everybody knows who he is, whether it's Corona or Hooters commercial, whatever it may be. And I think if you're the Raiders, young quarterback, struggling team, this guy's been there. He knows how the organization works. He knows how the Davis family works. And now you want to go to Las Vegas and have a face of your franchise?
He is the face.
You have the face of the franchise.
You think he's
right
going to
there.
want to live in Vegas?
Well, yes. He'll be all right.
He's one of those guys who'd be like, I love Vegas, man. I come in here. Nobody wants to talk about shit. I just want to coach my fucking team, man.
He probably will like that. I mean,
the
local media is not going to be as tough in Vegas.
You ever see one of them buffets in the casinos? All you can eat, $29.99.
Are
you excited for him?
I am very much. I'm excited to see him back, and I want the Raiders to be good. And I know he was the first person to put the Raiders back on the map. There in the late '90s, early 2000s, before you went to Tampa Bay.
Man, what the hell do they do in that Monday Night Football booth? Because me and my friends were trying to figure out who's going to be Monday Night Football announcers, and I don't know.
That's a good question.
But I'll tell you what they can do.
What?
Sims and Lefkoe is officially putting our names. If Jon Gruden gets this job for the Oakland Raiders, ESPN, look, you can call up Bleacher Report and say, hey, can we borrow Sims and Lefkoe? Sean McDonough, it's been a pleasure. I think the NFL needs a Sims and Lefkoe Monday Night Football broadcast booth, and we'll incorporate ESPN. Give us Randy Moss. He'll be our third. You, me, Randy Moss in the booth Monday Night Football.
Sam's?
That's the one guy that I definitely want in the Monday Night Football booth.
Right.
I don't think it could be Sean McDonough and just Randy Moss. I think if they go Sean McDonough, Matt Hasselbeck, Randy Moss,
that's a good
that's not a bad booth.
Right.
I'm not the biggest McDonough fan, as I've said on this podcast a lot of times, but I will say that I think Sims, Lefkoe, and Moss would be the best three-man booth they can get.
That would be good. It would be fun.
It would be hella fun.
It would be.
It's time to change it up.
My old plane buddy.
I think Randy Moss needs to be on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
I don't need Steve Young. I don't need both Hasselbeck brothers. I definitely don't need Rex Ryan. I heard him during the first week of the year. It was not good, but
they're telling you to shut up. They're like, this has gone long enough. Here's the music. End this damn show.
Well, because they realize that we're going to leave because we're going to ESPN to do Monday Night Football. Wednesday, we are recording a podcast, and it will come out episode 147, all of Sims's film. And then Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, we are going to be doing our big betting show. We'll recap how we did last week, and we will bet on all 4 of those wild card games.
I definitely beat you, right?
Well, yeah, you won $14.50 on one game.
Okay.
But I did pretty well. For Sims,
Peace out, homies.
Fendrick would say good evening, and the Lefkoe
Man.
says good night. We'll holler at you later. As always, love you. Enjoy football.